Hello, and thank you for joining me. This is Sierra from Sierra T Designs, and today I have this really fun Mother's Day card to share with you. It's also a collab and giveaway with my friend Kendra from Cards by Kendra. Give me a sec to tell you guys about that, but first we'll jump into the making of the card. So I am going to stamp out the Simon Says Stamp Tulip background stamp. Kendra actually chose this stamp for me to focus on. We sent images to each other of stamps that we had purchased but hadn't used, so we both chose a stamp for each other to work with, and this is the one she chose for me. So I am going to use a piece of Distress watercolor cardstock. I wanted a cardstock that could take a lot of water because the technique that I really wanted to play with, I needed to be able to pretty much drench the cardstock for it to work. So I did heat set this image onto this piece of cardstock, and I know you can't really see anything just because it's white on white, but once we add the Nuvo shimmer powders, it's going to be stunning, and it's a lot of fun to work with. I mean, you saw the card in the beginning already, so you know what we're trying to aim for, but I love this technique. It's just one of my favorites. And of course, I had to show you heat setting the image. I love watching embossing powder melt. Is probably one of my favorite things about crafting, and it never gets old. The magic never dies for me with watching it emboss. And I know it's really difficult for you guys to see it in this image, but I love it. So I'm going to use 3 colors of Nuvo shimmer powder. I have Cherry Bomb, Solar Flare, and Sunray Crossette. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. They will be linked in the list down below if you're interested in anything that I used in any of my video. But be very light if you have these. If you tap on a ton of powder, you're going to get a ton of pigment, and you kind of lose some of the watercolor effect with it, some of the like subtle beauty in these powders. So you kind of want to be a bit just add very, very small amounts at a time, just because otherwise you're going to get a ton of color in one area that doesn't really end up showing the beauty of this product. And I'm going to heat set between each layer. I brought in Cherry Bomb. The reason that it's yellow and pink specifically is this is a card from my mother. She loves yellow. Yellow is her favorite color. She loves flowers. She's probably the most amazing person I know at gardening. I can't keep a plant alive to save my life, but my mom can, and she grows all these vibrant, beautiful flowers, and yellow is her favorite color. However, pink is one of my favorite colors, so I thought just for fun that I would meld the two kind of in this card and just give it kind of a feeling of both of us together in this card. So I do end up adding a little bit more color, and I am spraying it with my Distress sprayer, and I do add a lot of water because I want a lot of movement from these pigments. So I do end up like hosing this cardstock down pretty liberally. So just be aware that if you want to recreate this, you do need a watercolor cardstock that can take a lot of moisture without breaking down, which luckily the Distress watercolor cardstock can. So that's kind of why I leaned towards that specific cardstock. But most watercolor cardstocks can. Just be aware if you're recreating it. And I do dry in between. And before I bring in my Copics, just to add a little more pop of color to this, I want this to be completely dry. Copics, they're not suggested that you use over embossing powder. This is not a Copic safe paper. This is really not meant for Copic coloring at all. However, as a person who loves to use my supplies, I kind of just do what I want regardless of the rules. So I mean, just be aware that this isn't really the appropriate paper and or way to use your Copics. However, I'm going to because I can. So for my Copics, I brought in 6 colors, 3 in a yellow family and 3 in a pink family. And this is just honestly to pop more of the flowers up, to, if that makes sense. Like I want them to stand out stronger, because right now you kind of just see a bunch of color. You can't really see the tulips themselves. So I have Y06, Y08, and Y19 for my yellows. And then for my pinks, I have RV42, RV13, and RV14. And as I said before, everything is linked and listed down below if you have any questions or want to know anything about specific products. So about the giveaway and collab. So Kendra and I have been friends for a while now. I'd say easily a year or 2 years probably. And she recently hit 2,000 subscribers on her channel, which, if you guys know about building a social media presence, takes a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of energy, and it can be a little daunting at times. So she hit her 2,000 subs, asked me if I would do a collab with her to celebrate, which of course I'm more than excited to. So we decided to do Mother's Day cards because Mother's Day is coming and why not? And we decided to do a giveaway on each of our channels. So both of us have a prize pack to be won. My prize pack, I'll show you all of the prizes at the end of the video, so you can check that out and see what I'm giving away. So to enter, you have, today is April 10th, and it's 7 a.m. PST if you've seen this exactly in the moment it went up. And it's going to be open for a week, so it's going to close April 17th at 7 a.m. PST. And I will draw a name on the 19th. As you guys know, if you've been with my channel for a minute, you know that I work 12-hour night shifts at the hospital on weekends and holidays, and it is Easter weekend. So I do have to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 12-hour night shifts. So I will be drawing a winner on the 19th when I wake up from sleeping for my night shift. So just be aware to come back and check if you are the winner of this prize pack. If not, I will end up drawing a different person, but hopefully the first person gets to claim it, and that will be perfect. So to enter, you do need to be a subscriber, so please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and leave me a comment, whatever you want to tell me. If you want to tell me your favorite technique, or you want to tell me where you're from, or you want to tell me anything like that. Now, this is going to be only open to US and Canadian subscribers. So sorry to the international ones. Sadly, shipping has become a big issue from trying to get stuff into people's hands, and it has become such an issue that I've kind of closed my giveaways to only the United States and Canada. If you guys don't know, I'm Canadian. So just so you're aware, that is going to be a prerequisite, but please to leave me a comment if you want to, and just let me know where you're from. So you did see me stamp out the stamp once again on the inside of the card, and I used 3 colors of Distress Oxide ink. I used Kitsch Flamingo, I believe, Squeezed Lemonade, and Wild Honey, I believe, were the 3 colors. Yeah, they were. And then I also used Candied Apple to stamp a sentiment inside of the card, which I'll show you at the end. And this is just a sentiment I decided. So the sentiment is on one long strip, and I really wanted it to be more together, if that makes sense. So I kind of had to stamp it a bit interestingly. Now, you could cut your stamp if that's what you're comfortable with. You could do this a bit differently than I do. I mean, you could stamp it out the way it is and then kind of trim them down and layer them the way you want them to be. I just decided to stamp them out. So I'm going to kind of have to do a little bit of choice, and sorry, my head gets in the way a little bit here. I lined up Happy above Mother, so I did Mother's first so that I knew where the placement of it was, and then I'm going to stamp Happy quite close to the top of the M, and then Day quite close to the bottom of the S, so that it's just tighter, if that makes sense. So with that, I just kind of inked up the area of the stamp that I wanted, wiped off what I didn't want with my finger or a baby wipe, and then I heat set the Mother, and then I'm going to stamp the Day. So this is a lot of steps. There are probably easier ways to do this. I am not a fan of cutting my stamps apart. I've done it once, kind of instantly regretted after I did it, and I have not done it since. But if you are comfortable with that, by all means, whatever will make you use your supplies, because that's the most important part of this. But I found this easier. And now wiping it didn't get all of the ink off. However, it's really easy to wipe off the embossing powder before you heat set it, which I'm going to do right here. So you can see I just brought in a flat paintbrush, and I'm just wiping off any of the embossing powder that's in places I don't actually want it. So really, really easy to clean this up before you heat set it to get exactly what you want. And I just wanted a sentiment that was a bit tighter together than one long line. So that's just kind of what I decided to do. By all means, do what works for you. Whatever makes you happy. This was my preference for this specific card. And it was really funny, actually. I had no Mother's Day stamps in my collection at all. I had to go out and actually buy this the day that I was making this card because I, for whatever reason, could not find a Mother's Day stamp to save my life. So it was just kind of funny how that worked out. But this is by the Paper Rose as well, just so you guys know. And then I did trim it down to be kind of like this thin square. And then now I'm going to do a little bit of die cutting. So I'm going to cut out a heart from plain vellum. And then I also really wanted to bring in the Simon Says Stamp Etched Dragonfly die set, which I cut out 3 times. The body is going to be it's the Lemon Chiffon cardstock by Simon, which I'm also going to use to matte my panel. And again, this is because my mom loves yellow. You could literally do any color combo with this and it would look stunning. This is just, I'm focusing on pink and yellow, and mostly yellow. And then I cut the wings of the Dragonfly out with some Pearlescent Vellum by Fawn. And I did cut this out 3 times. And then this is kind of how I like to build them. I do like to use barely art glue. This, of course, would be whatever your preference is. But because it has that fine tip, it makes it easier for me to adhere really small things. So that's why I kind of lean towards it. I jump between using Nuvo Deluxe glue in this video and barely art glue. Use whatever you have, of course. Those are my preferred liquid glues. And then I did kind of pinch the wings on with my reverse tweezers just to make sure that they stayed there and adhered properly. And now I'm just going to kind of adhere all my card together. I laid it out in a way that I liked. This is just visually how I liked it. And I know that everything kind of melds together, but when you see me hold it up at the end, you'll get a better sense of kind of what's going on there, because there's so much yellow that it kind of almost melts together a little bit. But the camera doesn't do justice to how stunning this card honestly turned out. I tried to tip it in the light so you can get some of that shimmer and shine from the Nuvo Shimmer powders, but it still honestly doesn't do it justice. And I did add some thin 3D foam squares to the back of my little panel. I think that I honestly got it a little bit crooked, but that's okay. My mom will love it regardless. So she has on the fridge at her house, at my parents' house, she has all the cards that I've made her. So it's kind of funny because when I go over there for holidays or whatever, we'll be there for Easter dinner here early this week so that I can actually have Easter dinner before I go to work. But there's all these cards that I've made her over the years on the fridge, and it's so funny to look at, right? But it's really cute. Anyway, so I did adhere this down with some liquid glue right behind where I had adhered the Dragonfly and the heart, where I had put the sentiment on top of the heart. And then I brought in my Nuvo Deluxe glue again just to adhere this down to the panel or the base there. And I did stamp in the base, as I mentioned. It was another stamp from the same stamp set that I used for the sentiment, and I will show it to you at the end. And I just chose to use candied apple for that. And honestly, you could have really used any color. I just wanted a color that would stand out better against the other colors that I had already stamped in there. And I did use my Misti to weigh the card down so that it would adhere properly, because it does still have a small bit of warping from the amount of moisture I had used on that cardstock. So because it's me and because I need everything to be as shimmery and shiny as humanly possible, I did also have to bring in some pearls. So I have some Studio Katia Arctic Breeze pearls, and I had to adhere those across there. So now I'm just going to give you a quick look at everything that I'm giving away in this giveaway. As I said, you guys have a week to enter. April 17th at 7 a.m. PST, it will close. You do need to be a subscriber, so please subscribe to the channel. Leave me a like if you enjoyed the video, and consider, well, you need to comment, because that's how I'm going to pick the winner. So make sure you leave me a comment and tell me whatever you like. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what your favorite technique is. Tell me something you want me to know. And I always read them all, and I always respond to them all. So make sure that you leave me something to read, because I really enjoy that. And I'm going to hold this up so you can see it in the lights. Hopefully you can see all that stunning Nuvo shimmer in the background. I love how that turned out. And then that is the inside of the card. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you will leave some love to Kendra. I have a link to her video at the top of the description. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.